Chumash and Rashi, the Torah portion. Behar-Bechukotai, we're in the, excuse me, we're in the sixth, oh boy, sixth reading. Let's get right to it. And Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, Dabra b'nei Israel, speak to the children of Israel. Amart aleim, and say to them, Ish, an individual, ki yafli neder, when they will articulate a vow, be'erkecha, giving them, they're making a vow, pledging, erech, erech means like the value, nefashos Hashem, the values of lives to God. In other words, well, let's see Rashi. Let's see Rashi, okay? Verse number 2 in Rashi, ki yafli, when you will express, yifarish b'fi, meaning express orally. That's what the word yafli means. Be'erkecha nefashos, evaluation of souls. Litain, so he explains, what does this mean? To give where? To the holy temple, right? Erech nefashos, the value of souls. Loimar. The valuation of something, part of a body upon which your life depends, is incumbent that you need to donate this now to the Beis Hamikdash.
Rabbi?
Yes.
I don't see the portion on the screen. I only see a Torah portion with Rashi 845 to 930. Start meaning.
Okay, let's start again. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I saw it come on the screen when I put it up. Okay. Thank you. There we go. Okay. Thank you. All right. All right. So what it means is you're giving the value of a person. You have a daughter that was just born. I say, I give the value of my daughter to the Holy Base. I mean, you're very thankful to God and you want to give charity, right? And you're giving it, the value of the person. So, the fact that Rashi is explaining the fact that it says the value of nefashos. You just say the value nefashos means soul. So Rashi is explaining that what it means to say here, even if, let's say I'm giving the value of my newborn child's heart, the value of it. So which means the entirety of the person, because you can't live without the heart, right? That's the nuance over here. Verse number 3. So now the Torah is going to give us what the value would be. It stipulates general values. In other words, from based on age, not based on particular performance and functionality and particular value. Right? It's going by age. So so the value of a male from 20 years shishim until 60 years shana. The value will be 50 shekel, 50 shekels. Kesef of silver, the shekel HaKodesh, and the sacred shekel. Rashi, and number 3. The value will be ein erel loshin damim. Valued here doesn't mean a market value as a slave. Right? Doesn't mean that. Ella danger yaka, whether the person is very valuable. In other words, he would fetch a high price as a slave on the slave market. Whether this person would be cheap, right? Kefi Shanav, it's based on age, like I just mentioned. So Rashi just says that here, right? Yeah, erech hakotzuv alav, and there will be a fixed value of parsha zu in this Torah portion. That's what we speak about. All right. Erech valuation, kama erech, that means the same as erech without the suffix. Kefal hanunim. Right, there's two chafs here at the end. Layadaiti me'ezalashinhu. He doesn't know what the significance of this is, Rashi says. In other words, it doesn't mean your evaluation because you put a chaf at the suffix at the end of the word. It means your. It doesn't mean that here. That's why he says he doesn't know why it's there.
But what difference would it make if one of the chaf was removed?
It wouldn't seem. That's why he says he doesn't know why it's there. Exactly what Rashi's saying, right? In other words, if you would remove it, it's still the same word. And if the person is giving the value of a female, right, from this would also be 20 to 60, and the value would be 30 shekels. And if the age is from 5 years to 20 years, so the value of the male will be esrim shkolim, 20 shekels, and for the female will be 10. Rashi in number 5. If it was from 5 years, it doesn't mean over here that the minor is the one who's making the vow over here, right? That's what it means. Why? Because a minor, their words do not obligate them. An adult, their words obligate them, but a minor doesn't. So Torah is not speaking with Ella, so what's it speaking about? Godel Shamar means an adult who said the valuation of this minor, Shuben Chameshanim, that is 5 years old, Allah is upon me, and others, I'm obliging myself. So, I'm giving you an example that, it's your child's 5th birthday, and you're moved by, wow, my child, learned so much Torah. I'm so proud of them. And you say, the value of my child I'm giving to the Beis Hamikdash, right? So you would have to give for a boy 10, for a boy 20, and for a girl 10. Why the distinction between male and female? That's what Torah says. Doesn't give a reason. Actually, we'll see in the next Rashi. Be interesting. Verse number 6. Now from a month old, right? We did from 5 to, we did from we did from 5 to 20, we did 20 to 60, and now we're doing from 1 month to 5 years. So it will be 5 shekels for a male, kesef ulenekeva of silver, and for the female, the value would be kesef would be 3 silver coins. Now we go from 60 and up, right? From 60 and up, then for a male, the value would be 15. From 50 goes down to 15, right, which is more than 3 times less. And for a female, it's 10. from 30 to 10, it's exactly a third, right? So Rashi picks up on that. And Rashi says, Imi ben shishim shana, mishim magia limei zikna. Once a person reaches an old age, back in the day, 60 was old. Today, 60 is still young. 60 is the new 40, or the old 40. Right? 60 is the old 40. But it doesn't matter. This is the law, right? So once a person reaches at 60, a woman becomes closer to reckoning, and there's some of evaluation as a man. He's dakna, because a man decreases in his valuation as he ages. Beyond a third of his original value of between 20 and 60. Isha, but a woman, on the other hand, she only decreases a third precisely in value. The amre in Inshe, for people say. So now he's going to give, Saba Bebesa, an old man in the house, Palche Bebesa, something gets broken in the house. Safta Bebesa, but an old woman in the house, Simana Bebesa, there's a treasure in the house. Simana Tava Bebesa, a good sign in the house. In other words, a Bubby is more valuable than a Zaidi. All right. I'm sure my kids would concur with that. All right. Number 8. Vimach hu me'ekecha. Now, this person, let's say he pledged, right? But he's too poor, right? In other words, to make this endowment, this valuation, right? This endowment that we just spoke about, or it translates here endowment, but I don't know exactly. It's evaluation. The word erech means evaluation. That's to be endowed. Anyways, sorry. So let's say a person made this pledge, but they're too poor. So he has to stand before the kohen, and the kohen has to evaluate him. According to what his hand can reach, meaning what can he afford. The one who made the pledge, the kohen shall, based on what he can, he shall evaluate him. Rashi in 8, if he's destitute, his hand does not attain, meaning cannot afford the valuation of which he verbally pledged, right? Now, if he verbally pledged an amount, then it's the amount. We're talking about here, like here, again, your child is born and you want to pledge the value of your child. Your child had his, that's 10th birthday, and you want to pledge, you're so thankful to Hashem for the 10th birthday, whatever it is, right? Or your wife's, 30th birthday, whatever it is. The point is that you're pledging the value of that person, not an amount, right? And midday, so you make him stand. A kohen shall cause the one whose value is being pledged to stand before the kohen. The kohen should make an evaluation. According to that which the person who pledged what he can afford, right? Alpi Shetasi, according to what the person can. It literally means here what the person can reach, right? Lefi Masha Yeshla, according to what he has. Yisadrenu, the Kohen should arrange for him. Yashir Loi should leave for him Kidei Chayav, enough sufficient that he can live off. Amita, bed, car, a pillow, chesis, a cover, the kliyum knives, tools of the trade. Imaya chamar, and if it was a donkey driver, mashile chamayre, should leave him his donkey. Leave him with, in other words, person pledges, it's serious what comes out of your mouth. Oy. Just remember, if all my pledges I've paid.
But should you pledge if you know you can't afford?
That's it. Then that's a different story. Should you pledge? You're not going to be able to pay it, so don't pledge. If you can,
Because it says if he's too poor, so you cannot afford to pledge. If you know you're already in a position financially, but you cannot make the payment, but then why pledge in the first place?
okay. But what if you did? So that's what the Torah is coming to say. You made the pledge. So the Torah is coming to tell you, now what are you going to do? Right? The fact that you shouldn't have done it is one thing. But here the Torah is saying that, actually, it's not telling you don't make the pledge here, right? It didn't say that. It said you made it. But you can't afford it. Okay, so you're going to get evaluated by the Kohen. To make sure that you have enough what to live off. Is really what it's saying, right? Number 9. Now, if the person pledges an animal to be an offering from it. In other words, you're not pledging, you're pledging parts of the animal, because it says mimena from it. An offering to God, all that which you will give from it will be sanctified, will be holy. Rashi, everything you give from it, Omar, a person said a foot of this animal is going to be an oil offering. His words are upheld, his pledge takes effect. So what do you have to do now? How do you give a foot? How do you give a foot of the animal? Right? He didn't say the whole animal. So now what you have to do is you have to sell the animal for the needs of the oil offering. In other words, should be sold to someone that needs to bring an oil offering, meaning the complete animal. And then the money then becomes, which was paid for, becomes not holy. Except for the value of that particular limb. Right? That becomes consecrated. But right? So, huh? Got that? Number 10. You should not now, let's say you want to substitute this particular animal, right, and give a different animal. Do not exchange it. Don't substitute it for good for bad. Or even bad for good. Let's say it was, you pledged this particular animal, right? And and then you said, oh, that's not a nice animal. Let me get a better one. You can't do that once it's consecrated. And if you do that, then the verse says that it and its exchange are both holy. And you end up giving a double. Rashi, Toivera, good for bad. This means tam mum, meaning an unblemished one for a blemished one, right? What's good, what's bad? Torah says a blemished one is bad. V'ra l'toiv and a good for bad. Kol shekain all the more so. Toiv b'toiv. A good for a good. V'ra b'ra and a bad for a bad. Interesting. Okay. Verse number 11. V'im kol behema tmeya asher lo yakrivu mimenu korban l'Hashem. It's a behema l'fnei Hashem. Now, what happens if you're now giving a blemish? It says tmeya over here, which means defiled, but what Rashi will say means a blemished animal, right? Because it has a blemish, therefore you're not allowed to bring it as an offering. So you must present the animal before the kayin. Rashi in 11. So the balas muma medaber. So Rashi is saying that the word tame, which usually means impure, which would mean impure animal, means an animal that to begin with can't be sacrificed on the altar, right? But it can't mean that. It means impure for offering. The Torah is teaching us over here, this verse, that an unblemished, holy object, an unblemished animals that have been consecrated as an offering, do not go out of their sanctity to become that which is not holy, but pigeon through redemption, unless it becomes blemished. You follow what he just said? You offered an animal to the altar, unblemished. Now, if I want to redeem it with money, I can't do that unless it becomes blemished. A non-kosher animal we've already talked about, so it's not speaking about that. Our verse is referring to animals that are kosher, but they became blemished. Because it says here in the verse that cannot be brought as an offering to God. What do you mean it can't be brought? Obviously, if it's not kosher, it can't be brought as an offering. We learned that already. So why is it saying that? It means that it can't be brought as an offering, but the inference is it could be slaughtered and be eaten. That's the inference over here. Okay. So the kohen now has to evaluate whether it's good or bad according to the evaluation of the kohen. So the redemption will be. So why are you evaluating it? Because it got blemished. So it can be brought as an offering. So you have to evaluate it in order that someone who wants to buy it from the temple treasury. Why would we want to buy it from the temple treasury? Because the temple treasury can't use a blemished animal. It's like got no value. So it's got to be sold. I would imagine it's sold at a discount then because it is blemished and they can't use it. That's why someone would want to buy it, redeem it, and give money. So yeah, I understand it, but I'm not certain. Okay, 13. So that's another person that's coming to buy it. But what if the original owner now wants to purchase it, right? So he has to pay a fifth more, the original owner. Rashi, If he comes and he wants to redeem it, but Baalim, this speaking of the original owner who consecrated the animal, the verse is stringent on this person to add a fifth to the price of redemption. Similarly, with regard to one who consecrates a house, someone who consecrates a field. Similarly, someone who consecrates his second tithe, a bailim, right? So if I have a field and I consecrate it to the holy temple, what do they have from it? Nothing. What are they going to use with your field? They're running the holy temple, sacrifices and all of the things that they need to pay for. They have to pay for the judges. They have to pay for the people. Not for the kohanim who they don't get paid, but they have to pay for judges. They have to pay for the clothing. They have to pay for the upkeep of the place, right? So they need the money. So you have to. So now it has to be redeemed. You consecrated. You gave as a gift your field. Well, now the treasury has to sell it, so they get money. So if someone else buys it, is one thing, but if you buy it back, then you have to add a fifth. Not only in this, because it says Gal Yigalenu, redeem, he will redeem it. It's a double language over here. So the verse is coming and telling us not only in this instance when it comes to an animal, but if it's your field, if it's your home, if it's Meiser Sheni, whatever it is, and the original owner wants to now purchase it back, he has to add a fifth. Adam, but not any other but not any other person. Got it? 14. The Yishka Yakdish is base, when a person will consecrate his home, Kedesh Hashem, to make it sanctified holy to God. The Kayin shall evaluate what the home is worth. For good and for bad, right? Whatever it is. Kasher Yarich, and according to that which he will evaluate, HaKayin Kain Yaakov, so it will be. That's what its evaluation is. By the way, the Kayin is a kind person, and therefore will be kind to this individual to make sure that it's not over and not a burden. And if the one who's sanctified it will come to redeem it, Yosef Chamish is Kesef Yakecha Olav. He will add another fifth of money, of silver coins, of its value, and then it will be his. That's interesting. Rashi already said this earlier in verse number 13, and here it's being repeated. Rashi says from the word, the double language, that's what I understood. All right, interesting. Got a few moments. We haven't seen something of the Rebbe's explanation. Let's take a moment. See what the Rebbe adds over here. A lot. All right, let's go to something controversial. What was controversial? What we learned over here? The value of the man versus the woman. The Rashi said in verse 7, recall, grandmother decreases in less value than the grandfather, right? So Rashi says, remember what do they say? What was the saying about the grandfather? He breaks things, right? So the Rebbe has, if he breaks things, then he should have zero value. Right? He should have zero value. He's breaking things.
This note here says a older man in the house is broken.
Huh?
The note here says a older man in the house is broken, in that he is not as productive as he was before the house.
Right.
That's how, as opposed to he breaks things. So
That's what it says. Doesn't say.
How much for the grandfather?
Huh? Hold on. Interesting.
What's that? Oh, that's
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. You're right. It doesn't mean that he broke something, but he's broken. Yeah, I don't know why I read it that way. Yeah, we got some people that are aging over here and they feel broken.
most people put on.
Huh?
Most people feel.
What?
18 is at what age?
I said we have some people here that are aging and they feel broken.
Oh, what?
Okay, so in that case, so broken. So if that's the case, why does he have a value? And further, he's got a value of 15, right? And as opposed to which is okay, is less, but compared to the grandmother, she only has 10. And we're saying, it's it's a treasure to have the grandmother. So why should she be only 10? So Rebbe says the words in Rashi answer the question. Saba bebesa, a grandfather in the house. Hacha bebesa. That's brokenness in the house. Whoa. When is he broken? Only in the house. When it comes to, managing the house, that's what we're talking about. But outside of the house, right? Being there, wow, as a community person, whether as a rabbi, as a judge, or any kind of, community service, not only that does he have the capability to be helpful, but on the contrary, he has a virtue. Because the rabbis, the leaders of a community, they are elderly people who have much more experience. The Rebbe turns everything around. Says, Diuk Rashi, Saba bebesa, right? In the house, then he's broken because that's where he doesn't belong in the house, managing the house and helping over there. That's where he's there. He's going to be broken. I mean, if that's all he does, doesn't mean he can't help, but he's not. That's not where he should be. Wow. Therefore, Saba, he loses his value, but he still has the greater value than the grandmother. But because of the value in the house, so therefore the brokenness in the house, so therefore his value goes more than a third down. Wow. Unbelievable. What that ever does, huh? And just a simple little diuk of words, right? Wow, that was some. Okay. There's more stuff, but it's not happening now. Wow. I have over 20 people with us online. Beautiful. All right, folks.